But let's get to our opening drive, brought to you by Chevy. All right, first down, we are looking at some possible options for the Bears at the edge position. The Bears brought in unrestricted free agent 𝗂𝗂 𝗏𝗏 for a workout. Spent the last season's 6 years with the Bills, Clay. How about adding more Sweat to the roster? How about Cardinals reportedly fielding trade calls for teams for Josh Sweat? No relation to Montez Sweat. All right, one at a time. 𝗂𝗂 𝗏𝗏 went to Iowa. People might remember him from the Big Ten. Played with the Bills. Pretty solid edge rusher. Pretty solid run defender. He worked out for the Bears last week. He also worked out for the Browns. The Browns liked him, but he did not pass the physical. What do you think about 𝗏𝗏?
I think 𝗏𝗏 is a value signing. He's a bargain bin guy. He's a raise the floor on the roster type of guy. I don't think he's a guy that's going to really change the game, but in football, you do need waves of edge rushers. You need different guys. Give a guy a break to come in, and he does have a history of rushing the passer. He not only had 2.5 sacks last year, but in the last 3 years, 2022 to 2024, he has 18.5 sacks over those 3 seasons. So he can get to the quarterback, not an explosive guy, more of a motor guy, but he will raise the floor of that room.
He is insurance. He would be a guy that, as a veteran, would be joining a defense that needs dependability, somebody who would be easy to coach, who could not necessarily be scheme specific, but somebody who wouldn't be overwhelmed by what you would throw at him. Also, might be, at this stage of his career, maybe special teamer as well, somebody who would be willing to do that, maybe situational guy, but he has to pass the physical, obviously, so I think he could be solid, not spectacular.
Yeah, maybe an emergency option there. I think the Josh Sweat signing, the Cardinals seem like they're open to trading him. They're fielding trade offers, according to Jordan Schultz today. So I think that could be more of a home run type hit. How do you feel about Josh Sweat?
Well, you look at Josh Sweat, 29, is a little bit older, a little more experience. All those good years in Philadelphia, took advantage of that, went to Arizona because Jonathan Gannon was there. But he's not there any longer. So now he's in Green Bay. You wonder if Green Bay might be one of those teams calling the Cardinals to see what it would take. Clay, I'm thinking 3rd round, maybe 4th round conditional. You don't know what exactly it would take for Josh Sweat. He would be expensive. If you're the Bears, I think you want to explore that. But I don't see this as a real – I don't think that they're – on the verge of doing this with Josh Sweat.
Everybody that walks into the used car dealerships, they want a Lamborghini. But it's a price point. Can you afford the Lamborghini? No. Josh Sweat's going to cost you probably more than a 3rd-round pick. This guy had 12.5 sacks last year. He's missed 1 game in the last 3 years. In the Super Bowl, when he played in the Super Bowl and won with the Eagles, he had 2.5 sacks. This guy shows up big in big-time games. I turn on his film. He can stop the run. He's pressuring the quarterback, ton of pressures. He's a load, big guy. If he came to Chicago, quarterbacks would need a towel.
Well,
you got Montez Sweat and Josh Sweat. They're definitely going to need a towel. It's going to get real hot, even though Chicago has some frigid winters.
That would be a lot of sweat equity, if you will. So I don't know that you want both those guys because
a real sweatshop.
Already, it would be, definitely. But there's a lot of resources devoted to the defensive line already. And I don't know if you would want to give up the type of draft pick the Cardinals would be looking for. I also am a little bit skeptical always about these kind of reports. You've got a disgruntled player. You might have an agent wanting to get this out there, and you wonder about the next move and the next team. How happy would he be until things go bad?
Yeah, the way I look at this, 𝗏𝗏 would raise the floor, Sweat would raise the ceiling, but Sweat is going to cost you, so I think 𝗏𝗏 is some more realistic type option here.
All right, let's move on to 2nd down. Did you see the episode 1920 football drive? They took us behind the scenes. For the moment, an Oregon Duck became a Chicago Bear.
Cleveland has submitted its pick. Chicago is on the clock.
𝗪𝗔 𝗪𝗔.
All right. Let's go with Dylan.
Oh, bam. Fit him in. Fit him in, DA.
Dennis is excited on how the draft went as well. When we took Dylan, I remember him walking up to me and says, I love this player. Not I like this player, I love this player.
You were a guy we targeted all along. I didn't think you were going to get to us, but as I'm sitting there watching, you know, I got the pitch stains going, man, because I'm excited about getting you here. And let's get ready to go win some games, all right?
I think on draft night, you know, not a lot of us were expecting Dylan to be there. So, you know, when you get a scenario like that where a player with that kind of caliber and makeup and vision from our coaches kind of all aligns and he's just kind of staring at you on that board, it makes it super easy to pull the trigger.
That's from the Bears YouTube Series 1920 Football Drive. Clay, I don't think I've ever heard Dennis Allen sound that excited, talking about the pit stains going there. I mean, he was sweating through his suit. That was an exciting night to be a Bears fan, certainly to be the defensive coordinator as well.
Absolutely. It was great to see DA fired up to get their guy. But the thing is, everybody's fired up for their first-round pick. Everybody's slapping hands. They're celebrating. They couldn't be happier. We got our guy. The celebration's fun. The work is at what matters. Now they got to develop. They got to work. They got to put him in the right spot. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. It's fun to get your guy.
Enjoy it.
Okay.
They were excited. How about Ben Johnson? Fit him in, DA. I mean, Ben Johnson was almost as excited when they drafted an offensive player.
Yeah.
But that was really a fun night because, if you recall, we all were sitting there shocked that Dylan Cinnamon had dropped that far in the draft. I think there was an element of surprise in the Bears draft room as well.
I think it's fun, and it is something cool to see the inner workings of that draft room because we're sitting there watching the draft together. We had a similar type reaction, and to see their reaction, they were surprised they got their guy. But all that is a moot point unless he develops. You got to develop this guy, and the on-field stuff matters, and that starts today on their first OTAs when you're out there with the veterans on the field, seeing how versatile he can be. Can he pick up this defense? Can he be a good piece?
Dylan Cinnamon, how do they communicate together? How are they on a string together? Where are they going to be lined up in terms of as a tandem? That all starts today out at Hallis Hall. It's going to be an important 3-day period this week, and then again next week when they return to the grass. But it's fun to see those guys relax because it was just I'm not
trying to be a buzzkill here.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be a buzzkill, but I'm just saying what matters is what happens on the field, the work, everything you do from here on out. It'll be something cool to look back on if you become a superstar. If something happens and Thieneman does not live up to these expectations, you think they play this day again ever in the history of the Bears? No. If he does, then yes, this will be a fun day to remember.
What you're saying is that they were excited when they drafted Kevin White as well.
Yes.
And others. So we won't go there. All right, on to third down. To the offensive side of the football, NFL.com ranked each team's most underappreciated player. According to this survey, NFL.com says DeAndre Swift is the most underappreciated player on the Bears. Good argument, Clay. Do you agree?
I think so. They listed some interesting numbers. He averaged 5.39 yards per touch, which ranked 8th among all players in the NFL with at least 150 touches, 10 total touchdowns, led the Bears. When you look at what Swift does, he can run, he can catch, he can create explosives. He's good in the screen game. He's good in the pass game. So he's a versatile piece that you can move around a lot. And I think a lot of us just kind of take him for granted because he's not the most flashy guy. He's not a brand new shiny toy. He's not a rookie that came out of nowhere, Luther Burden, Colson Loveland. But he was the engine that made this Bears team run. And the
Offensively,
Bears,
I think when I hear underappreciated, I think, he's a guy nobody talks about. You know, nobody's talking about DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
We're always talking about DeAndre Swift. He's a running back. I think he's a big part of this offense. If I were making out a list of guys who were underappreciated and overlooked, Jonah Jackson. Nobody talks about the right guard in this offensive line. There's Joe Thuney on the other side. He's a Hall of Famer. There's Darnell Wright on the right side. He's got a contract extension coming. The center. They're going to miss Drew Dahlman. Who's playing left tackle? You know what we never talk about? The right guard. Jonah Jackson started 17 games for a very good offensive line. He's one of the guys. You know the other guy? Josh Blackwell. The season doesn't unfold the way that it does or did if not for Josh Blackwell's block against Vegas out there.
Josh Blackwell,
yes, that for a day he was him. Yeah, so I think underappreciated depends on your definition, but there are a lot of candidates, at least there were last year in that special season.
You know who's underappreciated a little bit, and that's because you look back at his season numbers, 47 catches, 652 yards, 2 touchdowns. Doesn't go crazy, and you're going to say he's not underappreciated, but Luther Burden. Because when you see the second half of his season, what he was able to do down the stretch, I think he has a chance to be a real superstar in this league. David, from weeks 10 to 18, 34 catches, 481 yards. 75% of his catches and yards came after week 9. And then you look at week 14 on. 81 receiving yards per game after week 14. That would transfer out to about 1,400 receiving yards. So you saw a guy just trending up this trajectory when it mattered most. The game was on the line, the playoff run. Luther Burden stepped up, so I think he's in line for a huge season.
Excellent point. I can see that one as well. All right, let's move on to fourth down. Some serious news north of the border in Green Bay with the running back Josh Jacobs. He's been released from jail after being arrested on several domestic violence charges. Both the Packers and the NFL and local authorities are investigating. Jacobs' lawyers released a statement reading in part, "We remain confident that once all of the evidence is gathered and evaluated, it will confirm that no charges should be brought against Josh in the future." For the time being, the Packers are planning to play without the All-Pro running back. We will see what happens next. This will be a fluid story. It's one of the bigger stories of the week in the National Football League, Clay. This happens in the offseason. The reason it resonates in Chicago is because when you look around the division, Josh Jacobs might be their most important offensive piece. And when you look at the NFC North, there are only there's a handful of players who are as valuable to his offense as Josh Jacobs is to the Packers.
Let's say if you said besides the quarterback, obviously Jordan Love is the guy that makes that team run. And the reason this is bigger, even bigger than it should be, is because you look at the backup running back, Emmanuel Wilson. He was lost in free agency. The Packers barely got anybody that's ever taken a snap at running back in the National Football League. Emmanuel Wilson last year had almost 500 yards, 4 yards a carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, 15 catches for 100 yards. Guess what? The next guy they got in line, Chris Brooks. He was on their practice squad last year, and then their draft pick that didn't play at all, Marshawn Lloyd. He played in one game before he got injured from USC, a third-round draft pick. So they're very thin in the running back room. If Josh Jacobs has to miss an extended period of time, they're in a tough spot.
And who's still out there on the street? Who's still out there as street free agents? Maybe
Kareem
a guy like
Hunt.
Kareem Hunt is a guy that has been well-traveled and around the league, but I don't think he would.
Nick Chubb. I mean, there's not many guys out there.
We just got done talking about DeAndre Swift. I think if you take DeAndre Swift out of the Bears offense, they would not miss him as much as the Packers would miss Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, because they were missing Emmanuel Wilson. It's like Emmanuel Wilson is basically the 𝗂𝗏 guy for Chicago, and he's gone. He went to Seattle. So their backup that did get a lot of rushing yards for him, was a hard runner, was a good player, is no longer there. So if 𝗂𝗏 had just left in free agency, and now you got DeAndre Swift and just Roschon Johnson and Britton Brown, it's going to be tough if you lose DeAndre Swift because you don't have the 𝗂𝗏 to back you up. So this would be a huge loss for the Packers, especially when they're trying to win an NFC North.
Well, you wonder how the legal process will play out. You wonder how the league will get involved. If it does, if there is a suspension, you wonder how long it could be for. But right now, the Packers have to consider the reality or possibility that they could start the season without Micah Parsons, who's still coming back from that knee injury, and without Josh Jacobs, two of their most impactful players on either side of the ball.
Yeah, that's tough, and I think Marshawn Lloyd is a guy that they believe in. He was a draft pick a couple years ago, third-round pick. He only played in one game, like I said, but he is a guy. That's the reason they let Emmanuel Wilson walk. So for him, this is a big time right now. OTAs, coming into training camp to prove that you can be trusted and take some of these carries that they were given to Josh Jacobs.